hearing for budget revenue neutral rate in order. Roger, would you like to speak on that first?
Yeah, I'd like to explain this since it's a new public hearing on the budget process. For the last several years, there's been a tax lid in place in the state of Kansas. And under that, whatever consumer price index increased or decreased, the budgets could automatically increase or decrease that amount without violating the tax lid. Earlier this year, Senate Bill 13 was passed, and then a trailer bill to clean up some of the language, which was House Bill 2104 was passed by the legislature. So what that does is if you have new development and appreciation, in our case, our assessed valuation for new construction and new taxable businesses and entities went up $51,899. So then, instead of in the past where you would automatically receive that mill levy for these new customers coming on the tax roll, the revenue neutral rate says, well, you should reduce it back, your mill levy, to make it neutral on the dollars generated from whatever improvements you're doing in your town. So, all of that given, we did increase with new residential and commercial expansion, $51,899 additional. So we have proposed that last year's mill rate is 71.947 mils. We're proposing a mill rate for 2022 of 71.945. 2 cents difference on an average house in town, 2 cents lower than the current, but not backing down all the way from what we had worked hard. I mean, the council had supported the Coble Street Housing Addition, trying to get investment going again in the town. So that's why we hold this hearing this evening, to answer any questions of, first, why are we holding this hearing, and why do we believe we need to exceed the revenue neutral rate that was established by the county clerk's office.
Okay. Do we have any public comments? There being none, I will close the public hearing at this time, and I'll call the public hearing to order for the budget proposal. You wish to speak on that?
If you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This hearing is the same that's happened year after year, where public comments, questions regarding the budget process come forward. What's different about this is with the revenue neutral rate hearing process, the deadline for filing a budget has moved from August 25th, 2 days from now, until October 1st. And it allows us to continue to look at the budget in light of the changing economic conditions and where might it have to go. We cannot increase over the published rate of 71,945 and what the intent of the neutral rate is, but we could lower between now and council has to adopt the budget before the October 1st in a formal action. Tonight, they will not be adopting a budget.
Okay, as you said, is there any public comments regarding the budget proposal?
I guess I'm considered public, so I have a few things to add since we didn't have any budget meetings. We had one, last year we had 4 scheduled budget meetings. And the first thing I have on page 5, which is the conditional lease purchase and certificate. I have a question about the police car that we purchased last year. In the last item, it says due on 2022, which is January, $18,236. I have a copy of the lease agreement with Marion National, and it shows $10,280. And then I also have some city papers saying that on, January of 2022, the amount due is $10,263.70. I was just wondering what the difference was. Did I lose you, Roger?
A little bit, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay,
It's on the statement of lease purchase for the police car.
page 5, the
Yeah.
payments due 18,236.
And we made $18,000 payment in January the 13th of 2021. And we took a loan or a lease purchase from Marion National for $10,280.14. And that payment is due like the 13th or the 31st, 31st of 2020. And I was just wondering why we show 18,236 as a payment due in 2022.
And Ruth, the information I had, it was 2 equal payments of 18,236. And with a budget, what you're granting is the maximum authority. You're not saying that is the end expenditure,
Okay.
okay?
Well, I kinda understand that, but I also think that if we bump it up, then it just costs the taxpayers more. My next question is.
Well, that's not paid for by ad valorem taxes there, so, okay?
Okay, thank you. My next question is, on the cemetery, we have a total of $66,408 for the budget of 2022. In 2021, we increased it, to $47,728 because we were gonna put on an employee to maintain the cemetery. And I'm wondering why we have to bump it up to $66,408.
Okay,
And on the same line, the parks,
please let me address your concerns
Okay,
one at
thank
a
you.
time.
Okay.
Eliminate
that'll
confusion,
be good.
okay? The cemetery, we did, on this council's action, wanted to go from part-time employees, put full-time employees back in. So we hired a full-timer for, the cemetery to be dedicated to that. What we've encountered is that position again is open because of the pay rate that we offer. 2 employees have left us to go, well, they're employed down in Newton now. Okay? The other piece of this is that with one full-timer out there, they have not been able to keep up with the mowing and the trimming to meet the standards that have grown to be expected. So this budget includes the full-time person, which council wanted, an additional half-year seasonal person. So we've got 2 coverage during the growing season out there. And then also, there's maintenance issues in the guest building. We've got to address, plumbing and then the roofing on that structure. They have not determined if the sheetrock will have to be replaced in the restroom or not yet. So that's why we've asked for the increased budget authority to handle that one. Okay?
Thank you. The last question is parks. We increased it from 47,222 to 86,192.
No, the actual budget, I apologize, but the budget amount this year for parks was set at $65,458. What you're looking at on that is what our current projection is for the expenditures for the year. Again, that is the best guesstimate when we started the budget process in June. So, the increase there is in parks goes from $65,458 that was budgeted in the 2021 budget to $86,192 in the 2022 budget. Okay? Initially, when we were doing this process, we were going to have to absorb, after city council decided to move the ball complex, the salary of an employee. That's been factored back out, and now the increase reflects, we've got to invest repairs in the springs. It's leaking water and the pump needs to be, redone, taken care of. This has been something that's been postponed for 4 years. It also includes the initial cost to look at development of the splash pad, which we still have younger families approaching elected officials and the city staff. And then we have added insurance costs going to the parks line this year. I just met with Casey and we're trying to determine the valuation of the cover for the stage, and we'll have the increased cost there.
Is there any money in there at all for the memorial, the round Memorial Park?
Well, MAC has taken that on as a project. They do have $9,500 in possession. I believe there's a pledge for $1,000 that's pending, and they're looking to complete their fundraisers to redo that fountain. And right now, the MAC group is trying to decide, do the spray features stay what they are, not change anything inside the fountain, just fix the mechanics, or does everything come out of the fountain and be redone? The biggest piece of this is converting the 120 volt lighting that's submersible to 12 volt low voltage and LED, which will lessen the chance of any child ever getting injured in the fountain.
So your answer is no, there's no money in the budget for repairing or?
There's not. When this discussion came up last year, it was that, MAC, I believe you were active in those conversations with Mr. Meyerhoff. Okay, and they've elected to take on that project and the fundraising, efforts on that, so it doesn't impact the city budget.
Okay, that's my questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Open it up for public comments now, if anyone wishes to address the council regarding the budget. We'll close the public hearing. Would you all rise for the flag salute? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now call the regular city council meeting to order. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to amend the agenda to include a discussion on the real estate contract approved on July 26th and the email from the Kansas League of Municipalities, which I received this morning.
I would prefer that we table that until the next meeting so we can get
I'm
information.
sorry, Dave, we can't. This letter from municipalities is very important. I
Well,
can do it during discussion if you just wanna, but you need to give me a reason why you think that we shouldn't put it on the agenda.
well, because we don't have any information
I
to
have it
study
all right here.
prior to the council meeting.
Okay, it's all right here, and I didn't receive that email until late this morning.
Up to the rest of the council. Your motion to approve, to amend the agenda?
I put the motion on the floor to amend on the second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Aye. Motion failed. 2-2. Public forum limited to agenda items only. Anyone wish to address the council regarding any of the agenda items? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried, 4-0. Number 6, industrial park lot proposal for RV storage. Margot or Randy, one of you?
reverse this. Are you leading or am I?
You are?
My name's second, you should be leading. But anyway, at last council meeting, we received a proposal from Allison Unruh concerning the purchase of a commercial lot in the industrial park with the idea of a RV storage area up there, RV storage, boat storage, with primarily their focus right now is on would be their first building with plans to add 2 additional. The asking, or the price that they asked for the purchase of that lot was $3,000. Based on what we use typically for an incentive grading sheet. It's not used as a final decision, but it's a structured way of objectively reviewing proposals that we get for those lots. In working through that related to job quantity increase, the capital expenditures they have, which would be limited, my belief is, to the single building right now with the 2 in the future. Taxable sales, these would be rental units, so there would be no city taxes collected. And its amount of utility density, I don't think there'd be any utilities in that building here to speak of other than, some 110 volt lights to turn on and off for people who would be in there after hours. And then we look at the local banking relationship, how much of the capital is coming here locally, and we total all that up and come up with a recommended incentive, if you will, for purchase price of the lot. Those can be anywhere from no additional discounts all the way up to free lots, depending on the overall score. I've scored the sheet. I can't honestly recommend the purchase price of $3,000, which is effectively a 75% decrease in the purchase price of the lot that they're asking to buy. It's up to council, of course, but I can see it's a local business. They're expanding a local business, so that gives us some flavor of additional decrease for the purchase price of the lot. But typically, our asking price is $10,000 per acre. In the presence of this lot, it's $12,000 total. So, it would be up to council, but I cannot recommend selling the lot at $3,000.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the council? I would pretty much agree with that. That's kind of a prime lot. It's right on the roadway. You have anything you wanna add, Margot?
Zoning's a challenge, but this is the first step.
Okay.
And one thing too, it's not close, it's not like it's within 5 points or almost getting over to get to the first incentive. It's less than half of the minimum amount to get an incentive.
What was the total points, Randy? Was it like 15 points?
Yeah, it was between 15 and 20 to 25, I think, is the total.
Okay.
I thought it was 15, so.
Yeah, the local banking was a question we didn't have the answer, so that would move it from 15 to 20.
Why don't you get back with them and visit with them and tell them we probably would follow your recommendation.
Happy to do that.
Alright, thank you. Number 7, VFW right-of-way request. Margot?
Well, I learned something new. There's such a thing as a home rule with KDOT. So, I think you got our map in your packet. Darren was good enough to help me with this. Susan helped, Terry helped, everybody helped, Roger helped, everybody helped. We tried to cover everything, cover all the bases on this, so. Basically, we'd like to ask you to approve putting this sign in the right-of-way out there. You're able to do this by going through your city code, section 13. And I think it's the best thing to do out there. A variance doesn't really work, and you don't wanna grant a variance every time you turn around anyway. So, I went out and looked at it today, we have a note from Kevin Steele saying he's okay with it being there. It doesn't hinder any view of your traffic or anything, so.
So that's where it's at? I could make it out here towards Kevin's Steel.
Yeah, did you see that American flag stuck in the ground out there?
Yeah.
That's it. Although Darren's recommended that they go about 5 feet more one direction and 7 feet more one direction. And they were okay with that, and that simply will help us avoid setting any kind of precedent, because then it'll be 80 feet from any lot. And there's no other place in town where you could put a sign like that would be 80 feet from another lot.
What's the sign?
What is it?
Yeah.
Warren, what does it say? It has an arrow pointing to the VFW.
Just has VFW RV park, and an arrow pointing to it. It's a 4x8 sign.
The size of the sign fits within the regs. It's just, I need permission to put it in that right away, because it's in the city limits, so KDOT rule throws it over into our park.
Okay. So that there's no other issues with it? Does this require a vote of the council to approve
Yes,
it?
it does, because they need an approval of council as South City Code reads. And you just need a motion authorizing the placement of the sign in the KDOT/city right of way.
Okay, I would so move. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I'm pleased to give you your $100 check back. That $25 check will take care of it.
All right.
Traffic sign.
Thanks for coming, Warren.
Follow-up discussion.
Last council meeting, we talked about several different traffic signage issues. One that was proposed was for an ordinance, for no parking on two sides of the street. I actually met with, both businesses, in that area, and we came up with an agreement, or a mutual agreement that I think solves our problem and still allows them parking there. Where we're gonna go ahead and mark the 30 foot from a stop sign and 20 foot from a crosswalk, which leaves them one spot on each side of the road. But still clears up the intersection up where everybody you should be able to see around that. That's already set by, the standard traffic ordinance. So all we have to do is we're just gonna mark those so that way people are aware of it, to help prevent that from happening. If it doesn't solve our problem, I'll come back at a later time,
Okay.
and request that. We did notice there that the old entrance to HR Kennedy, that whole corner was open, so the stop sign is actually 17 feet from the crosswalk. So if you stop at the stop sign, you're 34 feet from the actual intersection. So the guys are moving the stop sign up to where it should be, now that there's curb and gutter there as well. And we are on the next topic, we're looking into the monitoring the traffic in the 200 block of North Cedar Street for the after schools like that. And we've done some research so far in the middle days of school that we've had. And a third of the vehicles are going less than 25 miles an hour that we saw. The highest speed was 36. 88% of the vehicles were lower than the speed limit already, the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. So I don't know if it's gonna be a huge issue, or even that effective to slow the speed limit down. But we'll keep monitoring it. If something changes, we'll bring that back to council. So that's all I have. That's my question.
The other signs came in for that.
Yes, the other signs came in. We're gonna mount to some giant rubber feet to put in the roadway. So we'll get those out hopefully by the end of the week.
Okay. Any questions? Number 9, resolution 21-16, tax levy in excess of revenue neutral rate. Roger or Tiffany?
As part of Senate Bill, excuse me, this was part of the House bill. It requires us to pass a resolution just saying that the city of Marion is exceeding the levy of the property tax rate exceeding the revenue neutral rate. When we discussed in the public hearing where it adjusts. Our actual mill levy was proposed will be going down, but it is greater than the revenue neutral rate assigned based on the improved $51,899 of assessed valuation increase for improvements.
Any questions? I would move to approve resolution 21-16. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0. Number 10, ordinance 1479, standard traffic ordinance 2021 edition. Tiffany?
Each year, the league puts out, updates to the standard traffic ordinance booklets and then also the uniform, public offense code booklets. And so each year we purchase the new editions from the league and we just have to, as a city, adopt those changes that they have made, which all of the changes they've made are included in the packets. So the next two items are just adopting those two, additions for this year.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 1479. Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0. Ordinance 1480, Uniform Public Offense Code 2021 edition.
Just the same thing, the, changes are included in the packet as well. So we are just asking for council to approve the 2021 edition.
I move to approve ordinance 1480. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0. Number 12, ditch diggers water line pay estimate number 7. Aaron?
Good evening. You have in front of you pay estimate number 7 to ditch diggers in the amount of $305,436.89. That's for all work completed up through a week ago Friday.